Hi, it's Liz, CEO and founder of Worth It, positive and organisational psychologist that specialises in working with schools and children's organisations to improve children and young people's mental health and wellbeing and help contribute to the prevention of mental health problems developing in the first place. I specialise in positive education, which is the integration of positive psychology and coaching psychology within educational settings, so schools, colleges, and children and young people's organisations. So I work with youth work sector, youth offending, crime prevention, nursing, community nursing, health visiting, all different practitioners that work with children or young people. And one of the programs that I've developed is a Wellbeing Toolkit program, which is part of our Wellbeing Club program, but it's also you can do it as a standalone course. And it is a toolkit of positive psychology strategies for wellbeing based on Lea Waters and Lowton and Waters Search Pathways framework. So why do I use that framework rather than any others? Why haven't I made my own? Because the Search Pathways framework is the most evidence-based, rigorously developed meta framework for developing children's mental health and wellbeing in educational settings. It's come out of 10 years of research, thousands of studies, thousands of participants, and it's really evidence-based and voice-led. So they also, after they created an initial framework, they then went to young people in schools and teachers and said, is this language suitable for you? And they actually changed the language. So we came up with the Search framework, which is 6 pathways to developing positive mental health, well-being, or flourishing, depending on what sector you're from, what terminology you prefer to use. It's a pathway to flourishing. So we have the 6 pathways, which are strengths, emotional management, attention and awareness, relationships, coping, and habits and goals. And if we are helping young people learn how to build these 6 pathways for well-being, it will help protect their mental health and help them to flourish in life. So it's really important that schools and settings that work with children and young people have this framework, have this vocabulary, have this explicit ways of teaching well-being. So I think one of the biggest problems that we're facing at the moment is there's just an assumption that we know how to improve our well-being. Humans know how to improve their well-being. No, they don't, because they have negativity bias. And negativity bias helps us survive, helps us, it comes from caveman days, but it's actually means that we tune into seeing all the dangers and all the risks and all the anxiety provoking things that are there to protect us so we can run away from that metaphorical lion that's going to attack us, but we don't seek out things that are actually going to improve our well-being, because it's not novel, it doesn't grab our attention, it doesn't make us jump into action, focusing on a beautiful meadow or autumn leaves. They're really good things for your well-being, but you have to actively, intentionally choose to do those things. So in order to know what to teach people to actively, intentionally choose to do, we need frameworks, we need tools, we need resources. So that's where programs like the Wellbeing Toolkit program that I've developed come in, which actually is drawn from evidence-based positive psychology and coaching psychology techniques and tools and made accessible into downloadable resources and PDFs for you to learn how to teach to students and pupils. So the idea being is that you discover what the 6 pathways are, you find out about the theory behind them, and then you have a go using the tools and resources. And once you are familiar with the concepts, the tools and resources that fit in these 6 pathways, you can then implicitly and explicitly embed them. So what we also know from positive education research is that wellbeing needs to be implicitly taught, so actual specific teaching and not just one-off teaching, not just let's all do a 45-minute workshop on resilience and then we're all resilient. No, it doesn't work like that. Sorry. No other subject is taught like that. Do you teach maths once and say, oh, we all know how to do quadratic equations now? I don't even know if they teach that anymore, but I don't even remember how to do that. I talk about this every single day. I talk about wellbeing. I talk about strategies for wellbeing. I talk about positive education, and I still have to intentionally choose to focus on those things, especially when I'm going through challenging times and challenging situations, because it has to become a habit. It has to become something that you choose to engage in. So you can't teach wellbeing once in a workshop or on an inset day or just one PSHE lesson and hope teenagers are going to remember. Are you serious? It just boggles my mind. And I think people think it can be taught like that because they don't really understand. They don't mean to get it so wrong. It's just they don't really understand what it is. So they don't really understand that you can't really do it as a bolt on. You can't really do it as something as a one-off. It's actually something that needs to be threaded through the very fabric and the way of everything you do in your school or your setting that works with children or young people. So first of all, you have to know what the strategies are. You have to create a vocabulary of well-being. You have to ask people, how do you know what helps you improve your well-being? I want you to think about that question. How do you know what helps you improve your well-being? Do you know? I know because I talk about this all the time, but I still have to consciously think about it sometimes. And then where would they fit in these 6 pathways where would they fit in the 6 pathways? Is it something that's a strength? Is it something that helps you emotionally manage and understand yourself? Is it something that you can focus on, like mindfulness, or like the way you think about things, or that takes your attention? Is it your relationships and interactions and communication with other people, your friends, your family, your loved ones, your colleagues? Is it a coping strategy that you need to help you cope with stress or help you be resilient? Is it a habit or a goal that you have for yourself that's helping you move forward intrinsically, not extrinsically? So what is that goal within you that's intrinsically motivating you to help you move forward? It's a complicated thing, isn't it? It's complex, but it's simple when you know how to do it. And that's what I want people to access the Wellbeing Toolkit for. So they can see that it is simple and teachable and learnable if you know what to do. And that's why we've created this whole toolkit of resources and strategies that you can share with others. So in our approach at Worth It, because we're based on coaching approach, we totally believe that coaching based ethos is the foundation for positive relationships. So things like, are we trusted? Do we have empathy? Do we have autonomy? Do people feel competent? Do people have good relationships with each other? Do we listen to each other? Do we reflect back our strengths? So all of that can become part of your school culture or part of your organisational culture, which then facilitates and maintains and continues the amplification of the positive education strategies that you are explicitly teaching in programs or in curriculum or embedding into policy, process and place. But first of all, you need to know what those things are. So in order to find out what those things are, join my Wellbeing Toolkit course. So the Wellbeing Toolkit course is a standalone course that you can do online. It'll take you about 5 hours, or it's also part of our Wellbeing Club program, which is our Senior Mental Health Lead D for E assured program that you can also access, and that's got other courses in it. The Wellbeing Toolkit is just one of the sort of jewels in the crown of all the courses that we do in that program. So I'll link to the search pathway video if you want to find out a little bit more about what these pathways are in more detail, and check out the links below if you're interested in finding out about the Wellbeing Toolkit course or any of our free resources on our website. And if you like this video, like and subscribe and share, and I'll be back again soon.